In addition to Finebaum the other day, even Mitch Barnhart's comment on Wildcats football. Did you see it? Mitch Barnhart's interview with the Lexington Herald leader brought to the surface a mix of cautious optimism and underlying concerns about the current state of the Kentucky Wildcats football program. As athletic director, Barnhart is in a delicate position. He has to balance Mark Stoops' defense and the work he's done so far with the increasing demands of the fan base and the disappointing results of the past few seasons. However, his words, while intended to convey calm, have ended up raising even more questions about the direction of the program. By mentioning that a one-year lapse is not what I would call not sustaining it, Barnhart seems to be trying to downplay the gravity of the situation. He urges patience, arguing that the recent decline may just be a temporary blip and not a permanent trend. However, that view contrasts sharply with the perception of Big Blue Nation, which already sees the program in a state of crisis. For many fans, the decline didn't start yesterday. It's been going on since 2021, when the team peaked under Stoops with a 10-3 record. Since then, 2 consecutive 7-6 seasons and a disastrous 4-8 in 2024 represent much more than a simple slip. It's a freefall that has left deep scars on the pride and confidence of fans. Barnhart also stressed that Stoops is fully engaged and that the team is working hard to turn things around. That message, while positive, rings hollow for a fan base that has heard similar promises in recent years. The central issue isn't the dedication of Stoops or the roster. No one questions the effort put in inside the training facility, but rather the program's ability to translate that work into consistent results on the field. College football is a cutthroat sport where hard work is only rewarded when it translates into wins, especially against opponents from the SEC, one of the most competitive conferences in the world. Another point Barnhart made was the roster shakeup during the offseason, which he described as promising. Indeed, there is reason for optimism in some areas. The offensive line, historically a weak spot, has been bolstered with new talent, and the arrival of impact players via the draft and transfer portal could theoretically breathe new life into the offense. However, these changes need to be viewed in context. Kentucky's upcoming schedule is widely considered one of the toughest in the country, with brutal matchups against teams like Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama. Even within the SEC East, facing rivals like Missouri and South Carolina, teams Kentucky used to dominate now looks like a tall order. Given that scenario, it's hard to envision a clear path to 6 wins, let alone a refreshing season. Barnhart's comment about 2 or 3 years before reassessing the situation is also telling. While he is trying to shield Stoops and the program from immediate pressure, this approach can be seen as disconnected from the reality of the fan base. For members of Big Blue Nation who invest time, money, and emotion in the team, patience is already wearing thin. Buying tickets to home games, driving hours to attend games, and enduring frustrating losses to teams that were once inferior have become untenable for many. The phrase "not acceptable" sums up the general sentiment. 2 or 3 years of mediocrity is not only disappointing, but potentially damaging to the program's future. Additionally, there is an underlying element in Barnhart's words that deserves attention: the lack of mention of concrete solutions. He talks about hard work and commitment, but he does not detail specific strategies for improving the team's performance. This includes crucial issues like net use, nil, which has been a key differentiator for programs that are successful in attracting and retaining top talent. If Kentucky isn't being aggressive enough in this regard, as Paul Finebaum suggested, it may be directly related to the fact that it's hard to compete against better-equipped teams financially. Barnhart doesn't address this point, but it's crucial to understanding why Kentucky is falling behind. Barnhart is right that the program needs time to assess its progress, but he also risks underestimating the growing impatience of its fans and the negative impact it could have on recruiting, ticket sales, and the program's overall prestige. Let's take a look Kentucky basketball's regular season came to a close with a performance that could be described as a true statement of strength. By closing out the campaign with 2 impressive wins, the Wildcats not only proved their resilience, but also secured a significant boost in the rankings and crucial projections for the near future. Under Mark Pope, the team appears to be hitting its stride exactly when it matters most. In the final stretch of the season, the week was marked by 2 memorable performances. First came the blowout win over LSU, a game that demonstrated the offensive power and defensive intensity Kentucky can achieve when it gets its act together. Then, the Wildcats staged a thrilling comeback against number 15 Missouri, cementing their position as one of the most dangerous teams in the country. These results not only boosted the team's morale, but also put Kentucky in a much more comfortable position on the national stage. The impact of these victories was immediate in the college rankings. In the net rankings, widely used by the NCAA to evaluate teams, Kentucky jumped from number 13 to number 12, a direct reflection of its recent consistency. Dratings, another reliable ranking system, also recognized the Wildcats' progress, moving them up from number 16 to number 13. While they're still outside the top 25 in some metrics, like number 26 on Evan-Mia and number 18 on Haslametrics, the trend is clear. Kentucky is moving up and gaining momentum as it heads into the postseason. These improved numbers aren't just symbolic. They have important practical implications. The rise in the overall rankings will help Kentucky secure a better seed in the NCAA tournament, while its SEC tournament position has been directly impacted by its recent victories. The Wildcats moved up from number 8 to number 6 in the conference, meaning they'll avoid facing Auburn in the early rounds of the tournament. That kind of advantage could be crucial in a tournament where every detail counts. More than numbers and positions, what really stands out is the way Kentucky ended the regular season. Mark Pope's team showed maturity and adaptability, essential characteristics for anyone who wants to make a splash in March. The victories over LSU and Missouri were not only achieved with individual talent, but with a collective that seemed distant a few weeks ago. Players like Andrew Carr and Lamont Butler are regaining their best form, while the bench has played fundamental roles. This creates an environment of trust within the group, something that can be the difference in elimination games. In addition, Mark Pope's work deserves to be highlighted. He managed to transform a team that, at times in the season, seemed lost and inconsistent into a competitive and organized team. His ability to adjust strategies and keep the group motivated was crucial to the Wildcats' recovery. Now, with the schedule tight and the decisive games approaching, Pope will have the chance to prove that his leadership can take Kentucky to even greater heights. The next few days will be decisive in defining how far Kentucky can go this season. With a roster that is beginning to perform to its full potential and rankings that reflect this evolution, the Wildcats have all the tools necessary to be a thorn in the side of any opponent in the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament. Your opinion is important.